What do you think about when you think about your senior year of high school? Taking senior portraits, going to class parties, senior skip day. Most of you probably have fun memories spent with your friends. I don't. My senior year was one of the hardest years of my life. It was a year my whole life changed. Before I got to my life-changing event, you should know that I lived with my grandparents, or rather in my grandparents' house. My mom and dad divorced when I was in the 5th grade. After my parents divorced, my mom, sister, and I went to live in a little apartment my grandfather built for us behind his house. As my sister and I got bigger, the apartment seemed to get smaller. So in middle school, I decided to move with my grandparents. I had my own room and bedroom. Growing up, I spent a lot of time with my grandfather. So in December of my senior year, when he was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of cancer, my life changed. My grandfather is the type of man who knows how to fix anything and take care of his own family. And honestly, there isn't anything he can't do. And when we have a problem or need something fixed, we always call him. But the tables were about to turn. My grandfather went from the strongest, healthiest man I knew to the weakest man. The man who once took care of me, everyone else was now having to be taken care of. Let me tell you something I learned that year about cancer. If the cancer doesn't kill you, the chemo almost will. My grandfather was diagnosed with a rare form of lymphoma called Burkitt's lymphoma. Since Burkitt's is a very fast-growing cancer, his treatment was very aggressive. Here's another thing about cancer. Doctors and nurses might tell you how they plan to treat your cancer, but they really don't tell you how bad it's going to be. They don't tell you that just before you think you might die from the chemo, it will be over. My grandfather was on 24 hours of chemo around the clock for 5 days straight. He would spend 6 to 7 days in the hospital, come home for 2 weeks, and then go back for another 5-day round. The chemo he took was very strong. After the first treatment, his health declined very fast. He not only lost his hair the following week, but he lost a bunch of his weight. Within a matter of 2 months, he lost over 60 pounds. He was weak and frail and needed someone to stay with him around the clock, even when he was at home. We were all so busy focusing on him and his health that the April before I even had my senior portraits made. When most seniors were going out with their friends planning what they were going to do, the weekends I was at home helping take care of my grandfather. I am lucky. My grandfather was able to attend my graduation even in a wheelchair. Wearing a mask because of his body was so weak, if he caught a cold, he would get so weak and it might even kill him. But he was there. Seeing my grandfather there but made me happy. I may have not had my senior year that I wanted, but it was one worth having. It might have been the saddest and hardest times of my life watching him suffer. I learned something very valuable most people probably didn't learn about their senior year. I learned that senior portraits really don't matter. Senior portraits are just pictures. Parties with your friends are fun, but it doesn't really matter if you get to go to them or not. And senior skip days are great when they are spent with your family. The best memories are made with your people who you love the most. So even though my senior year was tough, I ended up with the best memory of all. The memory of my grandfather ringing the bell announcing that he was cancer-free. This is a self-portrait of my grandfather, a cancer survivor.